In this video, we're going to start getting things set up for a singer to come in and record on top of these parts we're laying down. Now I want to extend this 4 bars that I just programmed up in the last video for the bridge section, and I want to make it 4 more bars. Now we've seen that I can option drag a region and create a copy of it. Well, we can create aliases like this one here by option shift dragging. So I'm going to click hold this, shift click to select them, and hold down option and the shift key. Click, hold, and drag, and you'll see they're all in italics now, so that they're all aliases, meaning if I change anything in this original one here or here, it'll get reflected there. And I want to continue our arrangement and put this section in again after the bridge, in case we want to extend and have the singer record over that as well. So I'm shift clicking, and I'm going to create aliases of this as well. So I'm going to hold down option and shift, and click, hold, and drag, and put this in over there. So now we have a longer arrangement, and we're ready to get set up to record the vocals. First thing we need to do is look at the project sample rate. So I'm going to go to the settings here and go to audio, and we see that the sample rate is set to 44.1, which is pretty much standard sample rate for using for recording CD quality audio, and I'm going to leave it at that. 48 is used for audio post-production, and higher sample rates can be used also. But I'm going to leave it like that for now. So you access that from the settings in the audio submenu, and you can also get to it in the transport bar. You can customize the transport bar by control clicking and having it show the sample rate meters over here. But I'm going to leave it off for now just because we have limited space in the transport bar. Next thing we want to do is set the bit depth. Now this is set in the preferences under the audio tab, and we have here a choice that says 24-bit recording. So when that's on, we're going to record at 24 bits, and when it's off, it defaults to 16 bits. I'm going to leave it at 24 bits for now. It gives greater resolution, and the bit depth refers to the quality of each sample. So 24 bits set there. Now the next thing we need to do is ensure that our metronome and click are set up, but we've pretty much already looked after that. But what I do want to do is change something in the metronome settings. I'm going to control click on the metronome icon and open up the metronome settings box. And I'm going to change this to click only during count-in, because we pretty much have our grooves happening. We don't really need the click playing. We have drum beats, so it might be a little bit more musical to have it just during the count-in. So let's leave that on. Next thing I want to do is make sure software monitoring is enabled. Now this is back in the preferences, audio, and we have software monitoring enabled here. Now this is important if I want to monitor with software effects. What that means is, if I have a singer in the studio and I want to have her hear some reverb in her headphones, let's say I want to set up some software reverb and have her hear that while she's recording, I need to have software monitoring enabled in order to use software-based effects. So I'm going to leave that on. And the other thing once I'm here is this checkbox here, enable independent monitoring levels for the record-enabled channel strips. I'm going to leave that on, and I'll show you how that works in a moment when we get to working with the channel strips. And of course, you need to make sure it goes without saying that your regular I/O is configured as you need. This is set up for my Motu interface for inputs and outputs, and I have my buffer set to 128, which is a nice conservative setting, and the rest of these are at their defaults. Next, I want to look at some other record settings, and they're available either in the options menu under audio or on the transport bar. First thing I want to look at is auto input monitoring. Now what this does is this. When we're recording audio, when auto input monitoring is off, as it is now, what's happening is when the track is record enabled, the talent will be able to hear what's coming through the channel strip in their headphones, which is what you want for regular recording of your first initial takes. But when you're punching in, it's good to switch auto input monitoring on, and I'm going to demonstrate that in the coming videos, to have it on so that when the track is being played back, they can hear the material on the track rather than their voice, so they can know when to punch in. They'll be hearing the material preceding the punch-in points. We'll get to all that in subsequent videos, but for now I'm going to leave it off. And you can also get to that by control-clicking on the record button, and you can toggle auto input monitoring on or off there. Next thing I want to look at is pre-fader metering, and I have this on here, and you can also get to this by customizing the transport bar and having a button there, but I'm going to leave that off for now. But pre-fader metering is useful for initial setting the levels. Now, when I'm going to get the talent in here, I'm going to have her talking to the mic, and I want to check the levels that are coming into my converters before any plugins that are in Logic or any fader levels that I have set on my channel strip. So pre-fader metering will give me an honest, accurate representation of the level that's arriving at my audio interface, and that's what you need to be looking at for initially setting the record levels. So I'm going to leave that on for now. All right, let's create a new track and get it set up for recording. I'm going to hit my last track here. I'm going to hit I for Inspector to open that up. And instead of the key command, this time I'm going to use the plus button to call up our new tracks dialog box. And I'm going to choose one new audio track. And we're going to go create. And there it is. So let's double click it and name it. I'll call it lead vocal. And I'm abbreviating the name for good reason. I don't want the audio file name to have too many characters. There's a limit to 31 characters in Logic. So the shorter the name, the better, because it's going to append different numbers and things after it. So lead vocal is fine. Now, another thing that you need to do when you're getting ready to record is choose what file type you want to record with. So let's go back to the preferences and go to audio. And here, what you can do is go to general, and you can set which file type you want to use to record with. AIFF, WAV, those are the standard ones, and CAF, which is the new core audio format, is really useful for when you're recording really long files, let's say longer than 2 hours or so. It can contain large lengths of data like that. Broadcast wave format, that's BWF, is great for timestamping the wave files or the audio files that are generated, meaning if you import it into another application, its position in the timeline will be embedded in the file. And AIFF is sort of the standard Mac format for audio files. I'm going to leave it like that for now, but any of them are fine to use. Next thing I want to look at is setting the recording format. Now we have these little buttons here. The single circle, as I've mentioned in previous videos, indicates that this is a mono track, which is what I want, but I could easily set that to stereo by clicking there and having the interlinked circles, but I'm going to leave it to mono for now since we're going to record one mic on one singer. We're just going to record a regular mono track. So that's it. We're pretty much good to go, but stay tuned. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to set the channel strip up in more detail. We're going to set up some effects in order for the singer to hear some reverb in her headphones. We're going to set up a headphone mix, and we'll look at getting all that ready in the next video. So stay tuned, and I'll see you for more next time.